one thing is that really meaningful in my life this year is kind of finally, I'm graduating this year, next month. So I finished my degrees in intercultural studies and PhD. So it was really happy to wrap up my studies and go to next level of my life, and then let's see how it will be. And my interest is about regarding immigrant families and second generation. So how can we build a strong and healthy family and work for the kingdom of God? That's my main interest in for that. And I launched my own ministry. It's called Family Missions, and then try to help the family to build up the family in faith and have a vision with the as a family. So with the children, as a parent, and as a family, they have the same vision for the kingdom of God and work together. So basically, I recruit the family who are really interested in family building and missions, and then we had around 3 to 4 months training before we go to missions every year, and then we learn about missions, we learn about family, and then we prepare the mission. And so as a family, we go into mission and serve together, serve others, together. So that was really meaningful and challenges. And then I know that some family kind of restored the relationship and developed better relationship. So I'm really happy to see that. But the other side is I had some sad stories about still because of the pandemic, and then we cannot go to other place, and then so I went to the place that I've been 10 years with the people who I loved with, and then one place is the Mexico, Guadalajara in Mexico. Another place is Michoacan in Mexico. So every summer we went to the Guadalajara and Michoacan, and then we tried to help the church. But because of the pandemic and because of the kind of transition to the other ministry, and then kind of short-term missions stopped about 3 years ago, and then last 2 years, and we cannot go because of the pandemic. And then this year, a couple years ago, I visited them, and then so I found out that they needed still support, other brothers and sisters support, and they need encouragement. So I'm thinking about taking our mission teams to Mexico next summer, but I don't know how it works. And my another ministry is kind of raising the leaders, raise leaders, and then I made a nonprofit organization, and it's called Love to Hope, and try to support the students in overseas countries and here, and then who are really struggling. The family is really struggling with the finance, and then they cannot afford for the children's education, and we kind of help them to keep going on study, and then prepare for the local community and the local churches and kingdom of God. That's my another ministry that I launched last year, and then still we already studied, and we are supporting people who are in Indonesia and in Mexico, but something happened in Mexico, and then we cannot do anymore. But if he really wants to go back to school, and we will support him. Yeah, like that. That is really my ministry, and still, I'm really interested in family, immigrant families, and family, Christian families, and then, yeah, I want to research about, the families, and then I want to research about the second generation immigrants. So that's my interest is. So I don't know how it goes, but still, the topic is in my heart, and next year I try to do something for that. And anyway, I'm so really happy because this is a class that about how can we share our faith and how can we kind of defend our faith. But sometimes a lot of people, and then it's kind of a negative connotation about apologetics. So we don't need to defend ourselves and just to show our faith and really take the sufferings of persecution from them, from the world, and then probably some people like that, and then they said, we don't need it, we gotta prove it, prove our faith in, we can live in now. So, but the other side, from the beginning, and a lot of people had a wrong concept of Jesus Christ and wrong concept of Christian doctrines, and then there's always debating and argument and try to guide them to the right knowledge of Jesus Christ. That's why the theology is established from the beginning. So we're gonna kind of learn about how can we share our faith? How can we, in other terms, kind of a sharing or a little bit strong kind of words to defend our faith, and then that is our class for this semester, this quarter. So if you are interested in missions, if you're not kind of going out and see what God is doing out there, maybe just let me know. I try to provide opportunity to see and to serve others in very close, in Mexico. So I have another mission trip, but because of pandemic and I cannot go down to Tijuana. Maybe some of you guys already been there, and then maybe you did something for them. But it's been 10 years kind of relationship with one of the native churches, and then second weeks of December 10th, I'm going down to Mexico, and even though we cannot do some any kind of mission activities because of the pandemic, but try to encourage them and have a lunch together, and then pray together, worship together. That's that's the purpose of the trip this time. So if you are interested, and just let me know. Let me share about this course, and then this course we call the Apologetics, and then explores the essential component of the Christian apologetics. From the biblical and historical and theological and philosophical and the practical aspects. So we're gonna see the foundation of the apologetics from the Bible, and then we can see kind of how people try to defend their faith, kind of historical perspective, and then they use the different tools, and sometimes it's very philosophical. They took the philosophical perspective, and sometimes a theological perspective. But there is some practical aspects there. So we're gonna see all of this one, and then maybe I'm not gonna give you specific, how can we defend our faith from the homosexuality. like I'm not gonna talk about the specific uh, issues, but I already introduced the one of the books, and then if there is kind of a recommended books, and then they did all kind of topics. But for this class, and we're gonna learn how to defend, how to share the gospel with the people who are different from us, right? That's why we are seeing the biblical and historical, theological, and philosophical, and practical aspect of the apologetics, right? And each aspect helps you guys understand the apologetics and establish the foundation of apologetics in order to deal with the current issue that the Christians face, like families, like marriage and homosexualities, and there's a lot of topics out there, right? So a lot of people are dealing with, and nowadays, and they try to keep to the faith, and some people, you already heard of the people who run their business, and then they want to practice their faith in through their business, and but people who are different, and then you are discriminators, and it's not you kind of against the human right, kind of supported by Constitution, and then they sued, and a lot of people are going through hardship because of their faith, and then but I don't know if you are Christian, maybe you are not. Even though even though among the Christian, and they have a lot of different perspective, but I don't know. Depends on what your foundation of faith is. So conservative, a little bit moderate, or liberal, and then even though same they believe the same things, but their perspective is different. That's why some things happen among the churches. So the class and guide students to understand the background of issues, and then learning insight from insight to share their faith and defend their faith. You guys' faith, right? That's one of the course that we're gonna explore together. What about the objectives and desire the student outcomes, and then there is kind of a direction of the class, and then these are specific goals. What are you gonna achieve through this class? And then first of all, establish a foundation of the apologetics to defend their faith, as well as to share the gospel in appropriate manners. So sometimes we don't know how to, when someone come questions about creations, question about evils, right? And then sometimes we don't know how to say. And that's why, because we go to church every Sunday, but sometimes we don't have organized idea. And then even though sometimes we have idea, how can we kind of not argue, kind of animosity argument, but still we kind of communicate and discuss about our opinion with people who have a different opinion, and sometimes we don't know how to do it. So that's why this class is kind of helpful those you guys, and okay, in this question, how can we tackle? Which one is the best way that we can perspective to kind of tackle the issues and discuss the issues, right? And that's one of the goals. So I hope that at the end of the class, and you all, I know how to defend my faith, and how we need to work, and what I need more to for that, right? And this one is going to help us to think systematically, and your logic and heart. Logic meaning your mind. Some people say that we cannot use a kind of science to prove our faith. yeah, some of them we cannot prove it, right? But some of them we can use our logic, kind of plausible, and people understand it easily, and kind of and then they convinced it, and then they came come they put their faith in Jesus Christ, right? And that's why logic, your mind and heart. So the course try to help you to your mind and heart for to share the gospel with others, to discuss the kind of issues of the current issue of life with others, right? And so finally, students can use the insight and knowledge learned in the classroom to defend their faith biblically for current issues. And that is the outcome that I really want you guys have. And for that, and if you have any questions, if you don't know, and just let me know, and then we can discuss more. And maybe we are not in person, that's why maybe you can send the email to me. Okay, can you explain this one, and can you teach about this topic? And I'm willing to do it with the research, and then just let me know. And then if you really wanna talk to me, and then I'm always open. Okay, so you can contact the office, and you can get my phone, and then you can get my email. So maybe first of all, you can text me and introduce yourself, and then if you just call me, and I might not pick up the phone, because now there's too much commercial call, right? So I don't pick up the phone number that I do not know. Just ignore my phone automatically if I don't save if I don't have the numbers in my contact, and just automatically it's silenced. So I don't know. Maybe later on I know I missed the call. So maybe you could send the email, and we could talk to email, and maybe I share the phone number, and you can talk, and you can meet. So it's a really interesting topic, and we have a lot of things to talk about, but sometimes maybe we cannot prove it. Sometimes we can find a solution that how we can deal with it, right? That's a requirement reading and apologetics and at the class. That is mainly we're gonna use the book, and the book gives you a lot of it's not an in-depth, but a lot of based on the academics and researches, and then gives a basic guidance of theological and historical and practical aspect, and that's a really good book though. So usually for the class note, and then I get all the material from the books, and then I can add something that from the other books, and then from the other resources. That one is 5 views on apologetics, and then that book shows that how can there is a lot of different ways that people used for to defend their faith, right? And that is a pretty good. And then we can see usually when you talk about faith and what perspective you guys are using, even though you don't know, right? That one is it's a really hands-on kind of tool that you can use. And this one is the myth of the non-Christian, and then the book gives you how can you talk, and how can you have opportunity to talk to atheists, and then nominal Christians. And there is a specific guidance. It's not academically written, but still you can have by his own experience, and you can see a lot of insight. How can you discuss and kind of engage in conversation with an atheist, then how can you do with the nominal Christians? So this one is really shows a practical aspect, and maybe you can do it by yourself and with the kind of small group settings and as a churches, and then that was a really practical book, and then this one is a great tool. This book is another the Apologetics of the Cross is kind of gives kind of extensive foundations. So if you are more interested, and then you can read cultural apologetics. Pretty interesting. If you really, now generation is really get involved in medias and the social networks, and they are really sensitive in art and music, and that is a really good book though. He tries to kind of establish a Christian's voice and their imaginations, and then through their faith and art, and so maybe later on I'm gonna talk about this little aspect of cultural apologetics. It's really I think it's really appeal for the postmodern generations, and another book is this one is kind of A to Z book, and the books of the Christian apologetics A to Z deal with really, really specific issues. But maybe you don't like their kind of approach, but if you learn the basic foundation from the class, and then you can use the material, how can use them, right? Sometimes maybe you can use your own things, but that's a guidance though. It's not absolute, but still gives you a lot of insight. How can you talk to others, about these matters, and then that's really good books. So this is a simple class outline, and 10 weeks, and today an introduction of apologetics, and then we're gonna see the basic definitions and how we could use it, and really basic stuff. And then for next week we can tackle the kind of what is it, theological perspective and historical perspective and biblical perspective and historical perspective and philosophical perspective and theological and practicals, and it's about 10 weeks, right? I hope that if you are really interested in kind of you want to really study more, and then I hope that you can buy the book, the textbook. Okay, let's jump into the introductions today, for the today class, and might be take that long, but here's some questions, and how do you respond to saying about homosexuality as a Christian? Someone who bring up the issue and then come to you and bring up the issues and then try to want to argue with you, how can you say that? What about others kind of people say kind of mark, like Christians are really narrow-minded because of that they don't really against the and homosexuality, but we are not against, but that's a sin. But a lot of people who are engaged with and people who are really support for human rights, and it's not a sin. But it's not legally, it's maybe legally not sin, but well, in terms of religion, Christian religions, and that's a sin. But that's why they said you guys are narrow-minded, and then you guys are not inclusive. They are different, and physically and brain structure, and biologically and physically they are different, but maybe they are different, but so our standard is the Bible. It's not our human right. That's a different perspective. And then how can you answer? How can you respond to that? What about people say, hey, your face is not, your face is like meat. Just think about Jesus Christ's birth. I don't understand. Biologically, right? So without egg, without sperm, one of them not there, and how can baby conform and birth? And a lot of things, you can if you see the like miracles and the signs and wonders, and maybe a lot of Christian scientists are trying to provide the evidence, but still, because still it's hard to believe it, right? Nowadays, look at the American cultures, and then even though sometimes people make by themselves, make their own mistake, but people sue others, and then sometimes they want to have equal right, and they say, even though they are equally treated, but depends on the perspective, and then they sue because of a discrimination, and a lot of issues going on. It's not constitutional, and it's against the law, and some of them, it's really complicated. But we gotta deal with the kind of issues, related issues, and then sometimes someone tried to talk, and then but you cannot just ignore it, right? How can you say that? How can you respond? That's why we need apologetics. I want you guys have a kind of I want you guys kind of put down your negative image of the apologetics, and just try to learn how the approach is different from what I thinking, right? What I expecting. So there is apologetics, one of the branch of theology, and just to try to see this one kind of the apologetics helps you kind of establish your faith strong. It's not against your faith, right? So how can we define apologetics? How can you define? I already told you though, but how can we define apologetics? Let's see the kind of dictionary definition. So Webster, if you look it up, and then systematic argument, discourse, and defense, and branch of theology would devote to the defense of the divine origin and authority of Christianity. So try to explain and defense about God and the creations, and then was the authority of Christianity, meaning that Christian doctrines and Bibles, yeah, like that. That is related to Christianity, and then maybe in other religion, maybe other religion use the same the vocabulary, but still it's from a long time ago, from the Christian used it. And Collins Dictionary said that the branch of theology concerned with the defense and the rational justification of Christianity. Basically, you see the defense for the Christian faith. That one is a basic concept. The apologetics is not just make argument. It's not crush others that who don't know Jesus Christ, who don't believe God, and who don't know the Bible. It's not a crushing them and then demarcate them, right? And in other words, in apologetics, the word and deeds and answers why people can believe, and defense, and why person should believe and appeal. Like this one, and one of the Chartreux and Allen and kind of defined in their way. So we gotta show, we gotta kind of let them know what we believe, and that's the defense, and then why person should be believing appeal, right? That's why people have a different perspective and different way to defend the faith. And so the goal of apologetics is to clear away the debris of the doubt and skepticism in order to make a path for the gospel to be heard, right? So goal of apologetics and defend our faith is not to make an argument with the people who wants to make an argument. Our goal is what? Use this methodology and clear the way, and then try to present the gospel, and then so that our counterpartners could hear the gospel. That's the way we can do. Maybe some of them have wrong concept, and some of them is they don't believe God and totally different. But try to make a way to let them hear the gospel and let them consider the Bible one more time in their life. That's the apologetics, right? That's the goal. That's the definition. So I like this definition though. Maybe this is kind of a too formal definition, but just think about this one, and apologetics and through words and deeds, and your word and your life. And sometimes a lot of people have knowledge of the Bible and they agree, but they don't have actions, the fruit of actions. Maybe we can learn about later, and then it's not strong. We cannot make a strong apologetic defense. People can know and study, but if the believing is kind of what? Show through your action. Show your belief through action. That's the belief. Well, if you want to have a strong apologetic, and we need both defense of why person can believe, why person should be believed, and then we gotta tell them, and then our life is supposed to support our knowledge. Let's see the origin of apologetics. It's a term from the Greek word apologia. It's apologia, which was originally used for the speech of defense. Speech of defense, right? Or the answer given in reply. So that is the basic concept of apologetics in apologia. So in ancient Athens, and it referred to a defense. Usually apologia is a kind of defense, right? Defense mainly in the courtroom, like lawyers, and there is a prosecutor and there's a lawyer and the what. A prosecutor try to accuse them, and but lawyers try to defend, right? In the court, like this, and then defense made in the courtroom as part of the normal judicial procedure. So I don't know whether you guys went to the courtroom in the United States, and then that's one of the duty as a citizen. If you have a citizenship, and that's a duty. And every 3 years, and maybe court that's a kind of a jury system is a little bit different from your countries, and then this is the court is open, and they select the jurors, and then they listen, and they try to judge it. And then was the jurors kind of guilt or not guilt, kind of made jurors kind of make a decision, but was a judge. And then depends on what they do, and then kind of penalties and all kind of bestowed all kind of penalties and and so if you go, and then always, and there's a selection process, and then recently I had kind of a sermon from the court to serve as a juror, and then if you have a special reason, and maybe you can get excused, but not anymore. Really special case, maybe you got excused, but not nowadays. And then you go to, and there's a selection process, and there's a prosecutor here, and the lawyers here, and then they kind of see which person is good for them. And if you are selected, and then you are in the vote for the judge, and for the case, and then maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, maybe the case is civil or criminal, either one, and you have to do it. I did it once before, and it was a civil case, and kind of a family feud, and then we listened and we decided, that one. And there is kind of where's the prosecutors, and then try to accuse the people, the person who did wrong by the law, but the lawyer defends and kind of prove it's not wrong, and they try to explain, and certain circumstances the person was in, and then try to get kind of avoid from the penalties, right? And that is the punishment. That is the court's was a judicial procedure, right? And usually, they use it a lot, the apologetics, apologias. But if you read the Bible, I don't know how many people you guys know the Greeks, and then there is kind of a word is a verb, and the noun form is 17 times in the Bible, in the New Testament. Paul used this word too. He tried to speak in Athens, and So the word can be translated in defense and vindication in every case in the Bible. So vindication is kind of try to prove that you are not guilty, right? That you are exempt from that one. And so usually the word, the apologia and apologetics is used to refer to what? Speech, or speech made in one's own defense, right? That's the terminology that we can use, apologetics. Apologetics. But apologetic, you can learn the kind of a different term, apologetics and apologetic is a little bit different. And so remember that, and it's not a big thing, so we don't have to make a big argument and go and sometimes really make the argument make angry both of partners and then what. Though usually the word the apologetics is used to refer to a speech made in one's own defense, right? So just think about people try to discuss kind of make argument with the homosexuality and then what? Just defend, you say something to defend your faith. That's apologetics, whether it is successful or not, right? And so I'm gonna give you some one of your biblical ground, biblical the use the verse, Bible verse, and then 1 Peter 3:5. But in your heart, honor Christ the Lord is holy, always being prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks you for a reason for the hope that is in you. In the hope that is in you in your faith. So what are you waiting for? Right? So Peter said that being prepared to make a defense mean that what? Give your own thought and defend yourself. Anyone who asks you, that's a really it means that every Christian should know and should prepare their heart. People who are asking about Jesus Christ, who are asking about the matter of their faith. But so what is this is a way that, but do it with gentleness and respect. Okay? Gentleness and respect, and then don't make a big argument and hurt and try to crush them. And don't try to emotion, don't try to get emotion involved in and the what, and kind of end up with angers, and it's not a gentleness, right? Just share. That's your part, and then what? With respect. The end of the argument, you gotta always sometimes even though you try to share the gospel and try to give them the right answer and seems like they lost, right? But if you don't show any respect, their heart is more closed and heart is more hardened. Whether your opponent, not opponents, kind of your counterpart you are discussing and sharing and making argument, and then try to respect them, whether they're wrong and they're right. And always, and then when they feel then, oh, I'm respected by him, but I was kind of, my argument is weak, and about kind of they it is kind of yeah, yeah, the counterpartners kind of opens, wow, they are different, right? Maybe maybe you can give the kind of information, and then maybe next time talk another topic and another topics, and then they wanna know who you are, and then they may decide to follow Jesus Christ because of you. So always, as a Christian, gentleness and respect, don't lose that one. Even though you got threatened and you are at the risk of your life, like people in the time, Romans emperors like Domitians and Nero's, they try to crush the Christians because they don't follow the Roman God and they don't take the Roman religions. So a lot of people died because of their faith. Yeah, there is such a biblical ground that we can see one. Here is the same Peter, 1 Peter 2 and 12 and 14. Beloved, do not be surprised at the fiery trial when it comes upon you to test you. It's kind of, it shows that there are a lot of trials and then persecutions came to the Christians at the time. That's why the Apostle Peter tried to encourage them, not lose their heart, not lose their faith. And as though something strange are happening to you, right? Even though as though there's something really strange happened, it's related to your life. Sometimes you got torn by animals. Maybe you got burned. But rejoice in so far as you are sure Christ's suffering. Can you believe it? It's not easy. No. So if you think about following Jesus Christ, always people are thinking about blessings. Maybe it's connected to kind of success. But the suffering is showing the Christ. Persecutions. That's a cost in following Jesus Christ. That's why a lot of people, even though they are at the risk of life and then they don't give up their faith, they're willing to suffer because Christ has suffered for us. Then you may also rejoice and be glad when His glory is revealed. It's a totally different life. It's the same as Jesus Christ teaching that I read in the morning. A lot of people, because of Himself, and a lot of people hurt you and kill you. Just saying. And if you are insulted for the name of Christ, you are blessed because the Spirit of glory and God will rest upon you. If you are in the situation like that, and then how do you feel? How can you share your faith with them? Yeah, that is a situation that people are in early early stage of Christianity in Rome's emperor, right? Under Rome's emperor. So think about it, just what Peter's trying to say to the followers of Jesus Christ. He never said, okay, revenge to the people. Don't do eye to eye, right? He didn't say that, but instead, and rejoice in suffering and trust in the reward secured by the resurrection of Jesus Christ. That means, rejoice. Yeah, that's why sometimes, even though we don't fight with the guns and knives, but still, sometimes we are in a situation that we cannot say anything, but still our life shows what we believe, right? Sometimes your word and then really powerful to show what is a Christian faith. Like, that's why we need both. So that's why, he said, anytime you have a chance like this, and prepare to make a difference to anyone who asks you, or listen for the hope that is in you. That's why we need to know what we believe. Sometimes Christians don't know they know the basic, what they believe, but sometimes based on the cultures, because of blessings, and they don't think about the suffering nowadays, especially. But if you see, the people in the world and they become a follower, just become a follower, became a follower of Jesus Christ, and they are kicked out from the family, and then they lost everything, and they got hurt. They lose sometimes their eyes, they lose their hands because of Jesus Christ. We are living a little bit different, in a little bit different world from them, but still we have our own animosity in this society, and then still politically and culturally try to attack the Christians. So just think about it. We can use our logics, our knowledge of the Bible, in a manner of what? Gentleness and respect, right? And clear conscience and good behavior. Not just a Christian vow, okay? Don't lie. And show your kindness, show your good behavior to them, right? There is one of the explanation of the Peter's these verses, and then Kevin Ben Hoozers and said Peter's focus is not on what to say, but on how to say it, right? Because of it, gentleness and respect, how to say it. Yeah, just think about people who try to crush you and who try to accuse you because of your faith. And it seems like if you show the gentleness, if you show the respect, and maybe they think that you're a fool. But as Peter told the early Christian community, say that even though you are in the situation with the humble spirit, and rejoice the suffering. Alright? Rejoice the suffering. Yeah, that's the book that's why the book, the textbook, Apologetics at the Cross, and then try to follow this direction. And always think about the cross, suffering, who died on the cross. Okay, before we jump into the apologetics, and there is different terminologies there, and we need to know which terminology and means, right? Each terminology means, and apology means to refer to specific effort or work in defense of the faith. That's apology. And apologist is someone who presents apology or practice of the defending the faith. That's apologist. It indicates a person who doing the apology. Apologetic. This is noun. Apologetic. There is no S, and will be defined as a particular approach to the defense of the faith, apologetic. But if you put the S, apologetic is a specific way that you defend the faith, but apologetics, S, if you add S, and then this is one of the discipline, like one of the branch of the theology. Right, academic, concerned with the defense of the faith, right? So if you go to seminary school, this is a part of religious education, but if you go to seminary school, then there's a class of apologetics, one of the branches of theology, like academics, academic, the discipline, and the apologetics also is a general group of approach to a system developed for defending the faith, right? That's why they have a specific way, and then show that one. That one is sometimes in this one, sometimes the refers to the practice of the defending the faith, but try to distinguish this apologetics to an apologetic. That is some kind of confusion. Nowadays, not many people use apologies and then specific effort and work in defense of faith, and then usually use apologetics. But there is another terminology that we gotta know, that meta-apologetics. Meta means kind of beyond. And look at this. This one is refers to the study of the nature and the methodology of apologetics. I don't know that you guys took the human hermeneutics, and the hermeneutics is kind of the same. Give them basic kind of method, study about methodology and principle. It's not a specific way, right? That's the same thing. So there's not a specific way you defend your faith. It's not a that's kind of apologetic and apologetics and kind of discipline, and then and different group of people are different kind of set of defense, and then but this one is how can we defend our faith? Like a theological perspective and historical perspective, and that's a different way. We're gonna see that the 5 ways, and that's study about nature of the apologetics and the method of apologetics. The meta apologetics. This one is doesn't give you specific guidance for the issues. It's the same as the Margaret Hannon defined it as the field of inquiry that examines the method, concept, and foundation of the apologetic system and the perspective, right? That's meta apologetics. It's the same, branch of the apologetics and focus on the principles and fundamental questions must be answered properly, and then that is another one is maybe defined as a particular theory of the meta apologetics, such as here reformed meta apologetics. A little bit, he takes a little different perspective, right? Maybe like a historical perspective and theological perspective. There is you can learn the names, pre-positional and then classical and continuative, and there is a way that we can see evidence. There is a way. So we're going to go to the basic terminology and what is the function of apologetics? Can you see what is the function of apologetics? Think about it. First of all, apologetics kind of try to vindicate and try to prove and involve in philosophical argument and scientific and historical evidence for the Christian faith. It's not just theological perspective. They use scientific and evidence and historical and documents. That's why it's a different law. There is a different names. We're gonna learn later, right? And philosophical argument and scientific and that's the kind of provide all perspective and then defend, prove that this is what we believe. Another function is what? Defense. So I already told you we read about the first Peters, and then early Christians used the word apologia and defend Christianity though. So early fathers like if you Irenaeus and Tertullian and there is around the 1st and 2nd century and the 3rd century, so a lot of people, there's no, in the 2nd century, so no apostles anymore, right? They are the disciples, some of them are disciples of the apostles, the 12 apostles, and some of them is from not, but still, they try to, they become a Christian, they try to defend their faith. Tertullian, right? And Polycarps, they are the fathers, only recent fathers. And what about another function? Reputation of opposing belief. What is a reputate? And repetitive means that just think about and what they believe and then try to prove that they are wrong. They have a wrong idea, wrong concept. Yeah, that's a reputation. And that's why, third function is a reputation of the opposing belief. Okay, we don't accuse them. Oh, you are wrong, and we don't accuse them by following the logic and reasoning and show that what we believe, and then they will see how different from their belief, right? How their thought. And the last function is what? To persuasion. And eventually, we want to defend our faith and then what? Present our faith, the gospel. The persuasion, whether they take it or the opposing kind of partners and take it or not, there's a chance to show them the gospel. Sometimes when you hear the kind of debating and it's a totally different perspective, and it's hard to understand how they communicate each other, because the Christians, they use the historical evidence, they use the philosophical argument, and they use the what? Scientific data, so whatever, but just the people who are opposing you and then they don't believe it. But always try to make an argument. But usually, basic foundation is what? Our apologetic is on the Bible. Yeah. So we say Bible said it and then try to explain, but they don't believe it. It's hard to say that. Sometimes. That's why if you refute with someone, and someone in the world, I don't know whether they can respect you. Maybe in the academia, and they try to respect others, but in real setting, no. The cursing is there, and how much vulgar is there, and then that's not nice. But still, we don't lose our kind of heart. Whenever you are in the situation, and then in prayer, this is one opportunity to share the gospel, whether they will accept or not. That is your basic functions, and then maybe you could add more, but I try to see that, and then here is, and they introduce kind of four functions. I got it. So who the Christian need apologetics with? Who is your opposing partners? Have you thought about it? So everybody who don't believe Jesus Christ, God, everybody. I had a chance to talk about our faith with a Muslim, and I was taking a Muslim, understanding Islamic, understanding Islam, like this, and then it was 12-week course, and then one of the requirement is kind of you need to engage with the Muslim, and then you gotta learn from them, and then why I was taking class, and then I was working in Korean Mission Agency, and then it's very close, and there's the really lot of Muslim kind of businesses there, and then in Brookhurst, in Anaheim, and so I visited place, business place, and he's selling clothes and all kind of stuff. And I was really surprised. And they're really nice. The owner is really nice. And my name is Christian, and then he knows I'm Christian. So I don't wanna lie to them, and then I'm a Christian, and then I wanna learn about your religion. That's why I'm here. And I say straightforward because later on, if they found out my intention, and then they're gonna be mad. So in the beginning, I opened, frankly, why I was there, and from the time he's changed, totally different. I'm not a customer, and he tried to prove that Christianity is wrong. Christianity is wrong. You got deceived by the Christians, and the Bible is wrong. And he gave me a lot of the brochures about Christianity, and you need to be a Muslim. Okay, you need to turn from Christian to Islam, and you're gonna be a good Muslim, like that. And then eventually, I don't want to make an argument there. And then whenever I was leaving the store, and then he gives me kind of small gift. I went there 3-4 times, and then he gave me a small gift, like not the big things, about $3, and that's a day, one of acts that the Muslims have to do, right, and has to do, and and later on, I didn't know that how they think about Christianity, and later on he gave me Quran, Quran, the book, and then it's not this not a book that he highlighted a lot, and then maybe it's not an official one, and then he gave me a lot of brochures about Christians, and then eventually we are talking about something, and then I asked some questions, and then he cannot answer, and then he tried to connect me to imam, that's pastor in Muslim Islam, and then we tried to arrange and talk, but the time doesn't work very well. But he helped the Islam center, and at the same time he needed to work, and then it doesn't go well, but schedule-wise, and then we kind of 1-2 times, and we talked to each other on the phone, and then later on kind of stopped. So I try to be really nice and gentle. So mostly I try to listen to them, and I wanna hear how they think about Christianity. So I learned, and one of the surprising things that when I was running the mission training program, education program, and then usually I send them out. I sent them out to visit the other ethnic groups, maybe Indian they can go to Indian town, they can go to Muslim town, and Vietnamese town, and then they see how they are different. So we don't have to go to Korean town, and we don't have to, I want them to experience how they are different, how they live, and what they eat, what they wear. And then one of the team came back from the Islam, and then they visited very close to the mosque, and then when they came back, and then they are really surprised, and then they tried to not evangelize, like it's a Christian term, but they tried to evangelize the Vietnamese community, and then they all the material they have and translate to the Vietnamese, and then wow, it's really surprising. yeah, in the bank we cannot see anything, and maybe when we think about Islam and they are terrorists, and then some people know the Muslim, they are really nice. My friend was really nice. He's from Pakistan, and then um, once we introduced each other, and we had we had a dog and kind of played together, and then whenever we met together, and whenever I asked about Islam and their cultures, and they were really nice to talk to me, and then yeah, yeah, teach me. So people are really nice. Some of them are really nice, but some of them are really radical and revolutionaries, so a little bit different. But we gotta deal like these people. Their belief is different, right? Their belief system is different. What about Hindus? Nowadays, there's extremist Hindus, and then they persecute the Christian, burn the churches, burn the house, and beating the Christians, and expel Christians from their communities. And it's a lot of happenings in India, and nowadays they have a special religious law, and then to prevent Christian from evangelizing Hindus. And it's really now it's really it's not a peaceful relationship with other religion, and try to protect their religion, and then really aggressive to other religion. Yeah, Buddhism same. Yeah, when you go to Myanmar, and so there's the biggest temple in the world, and you can see the Buddhists and how can attack the Muslims and attack the Christians. Recently I got a mail kind of prayer request from someone, and then he is pastor and local leader for Christian in the Christian community, and then he's kind of hiding place to place because the local authority tries to find him and kind of put him in the jail. Yeah, not just put him in the jail, but think about some of them is to try to accuse and try to, your religion is false. It's to, you guys get out of from there like this, and then they have their own belief system, right? Islam and Hinduism, caste system, and then what about the Islam? So similar to Christians but different. And what about the Buddhism? Still, it seems like they are really generous but still different, right? And there's other religions a lot. Just think about Christianity. We have a lot of sects and cult, and they have a different understanding of the Bible, and sometimes and they receive a special revelation from God, and sometimes they say, I'm sent by God to proclaim the word of God, and like this. And how can we talk them? Just among the Christianity and a lot of different the denominations, but basic is the same. But a little bit, the emphasis is a little bit different, but basic is the same. That's why we don't fight each other. But what about cult? What about sect? What about other religion? Think about it. We got to deal with them. So how can you defend your faith from them? once you have talked about your faith. Muslims don't understand the Trinity. They don't believe in Trinity. It's okay. At least the people are thinking about there is the one, is absolute one who's perfect and holy one is there. That is a kind of a religion, right? A little bit different. At least they acknowledge God is there. Whether Christianity God is different from other God, and other people say, oh, some people say every God is one, but every aspect of a religion is different. That's relativism, right? Their way is right, our way is right. Just think about on the top of the mountain, Christians take their way, Jesus Christ. We take Allah. So we take self, what's that? We call self, kind of actualization, right? And there is a lot of different ways though. That's a relativism. It's really dangerous. But they acknowledge God. But how can we talk to them? How can we say that Jesus Christ is the only way, that truth and life and way to reconcile with God? What about the people who are atheists? They don't believe God. No God. That's it. They say no God. How can we engage them? How can we talk to them? When you try to talk about God, it's kind of maybe they say you are too weak psychologically. That's why they believe they create, you are so weak, and create something relying on comfort to yourself. Right? Atheist. What about the agnostic? They don't want to acknowledge what they see now. Why cannot touch now? We don't know where the God is there. We don't know after world is there. After life. It's just what can we sure is just seeing just the things that we are seeing now. Agnostic. They are not sure. What about others? There's a people. It's a hard people. I already talked about these people. It's a nominal Christian. Sometimes we have to deal with the Christians. We call it nominal Christian. What is a nominal Christian? Have we heard the terminology? And people say that about in America, and then around 70%, around 70% around there, and then they say they are Christian. But how many percent of people are going to church? They say Christian and they go to church weekly. How many percent? 30-something, 39%. They say even though I'm Christian, but they never been to church. They don't have right knowledge of God. But they say they're Christian. Maybe some are raised by a Christian family, and maybe they are culturally Christian. We say cultural Christians. And what is a nominal Christian? So nominal Christian is, there is a definition that by the evangelical Lutheran movement, and here is a definition. Some scholars don't agree with this definition, but it's a kind of evangelical association. The Lordland movement is kind of evangelical association, and then they define in this way. I like this definition though. And so nominal Christian as the person who has not responded in repentance, faith to Jesus Christ as the personal Savior and Lord. They don't believe in Jesus Christ yet. They come to church, they don't believe it. They consider themselves as Christian, but they don't believe in Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is their Savior. They don't confess that. You gotta know that. But a lot of people at church, a lot of people like that. Because of friends, because of the family, and because of their special interests, they come to church. Maybe you're practicing or non-practicing church members, right? Maybe, I already said the cultural Christian. Another word is nominal Christian. They never been in the church, but they say they are Christian. Some of them maybe come to church every Sunday. But difference is that should the repentance, faith to Jesus Christ as your personal Savior and Lord. They didn't put it. They didn't believe it. And He may give intellectual assent, agreement, consent to the basic Christian doctrine and claim to be a Christian. Okay. You understand that God is creator. Jesus Christ died on the cross. He is the Savior sent by God. Maybe they agree in that's a head knowledge, but they don't confess and they don't profess in front of people. Right? Yeah. And the nominal Christians may be faithful in attending church liturgical rites, some liturgies and worship service, and maybe active member involved in the church affairs. Just think about it. Even though they are church, but they are not believers and now respond in repentance and faith to Jesus Christ as their Savior. That's we say nominal Christian. We gotta deal with the peoples, right? And maybe they can raise up, the myth of the Christians, and then there is dealing with the people and give you a specific idea, and then they're always talking about the life. Christian. And how can we do that? How can Christians do that? So we gotta deal with all people and they have different interests and they have a different perspective of life and different value and different belief system. And that's why we are one of them. So we are Christians and we believe God and believe Jesus Christ. And then just think about, we are different from them. When we talked about the religion, our faith, belief, how can we talk to each other? Right? There is an area and people who are belong to the categories. So we gotta deal with the people. So how do Christian? How can Christian need to answer? How do Christian answer to their questions? In gentleness and respect. How? First of all, we got to understand the argumentative premise. What is the point? What is the issues? We got to understand that exactly. Sometimes we don't understand the argument and it always go different way, right? And then think about what's the background of the issues. Gives you some idea, not just the word and what is his perspective, and then maybe you can know his personal perspective, why he thinks that way, and how he's got influenced by the parents and others, and then just so you need to know before you go jump in, and then just think about it. There is some questions, background question, but so we gotta know the specific target of the discourse issues, right? Another thing is that we need to know the Bible. If you don't know the Bible, whatever you say, always they are saying about the Bible, relate to Bible. So if you don't know the Bible well, then it's hard. Maybe you can read some of the books and give you some ideas, and then but still you gotta know the Bible. All answers based on the Bible. Even though you use a historical perspective and philosophical perspective, but if not scientific and if not relate to the Bible, you cannot do that. And maybe sometimes you cannot give them answer and be honest. Yeah, I don't know how to answer, but I believe. But yeah, maybe we can be next time and we can talk about it. And you can research and you can study about the matter issues. So we gotta learn about. We need to learn the Bible with the historical background and cultural background. Sometimes they don't know they don't understand the specific verses and just take out the verse without context, without the cultural understanding and historical understanding. That's a problem. And then if you give them some explanation, and then they might understand the verse. And that's why we need to learn the Bible very well. Sometimes, I don't know whether you guys take the Bible exposition or the hermeneutics. And I already gave you, in my class, I already gave you some guidance of how to interpret the Bible. It's really important. So when you read the Bible, not just look at the verses, but just pick the verse to hit your heart. Don't do that. Even though you remember the verse and word, but still you gotta know the whole context. And that's why one of the ways that people misunderstand the Bible, only just to see the verse, you knowing the context, or you know the whole context of the Bible, right? So we're gonna know that one, and use the reasoning and logic. The reasoning, how to put together step by step, and the following the process of logic, right? It's really important, especially in the argument, if you wanna defend, right? And that's why we need to prepare though. Without preparation, and then you cannot say on the spot. You cannot make an argument on the spot. So just think about it. What is the hot issues and topics right now, and then at least that one. And then whenever you are interested, and try. Nowadays, there's a lot of resources available online, but still, you gotta know which information is right. I made a big mistake, and then even though I had theological education, and then I'm an ordained pastor, and then we were talking about the big fish in Jonah, the Old Testament, and I tried to look it up, and then oh wow, excitement articles there. It's a long time ago, so. Yeah, I read an article about this one, and then but I didn't go that deep, and then one of my the small members, do you know later on there was a false. It's not true. Wow. Do you know how I felt at the moment? Yeah. So when you research something in on the internet, and you gotta know which resources are reliable. If you don't know and go, it's kind of don't believe everything true, right? Some of them here and there, and a lot of time there is no any so what is the resource, the origin, what is it, the bibliography, and then, but you gotta know where it's come from, and who are they, and how they found it, and at least try to see, and a lot of information that when I write the information on the dissertation, and then I picked the kind of the definition from the book, but I didn't write down the book name, all the stuff, and then I tried to find the book that I use it. I just had the author and the year, and then tried to find it, but I couldn't find it. So I look up the definition though. Tons of people cite it, but there is no originality who made the definition though. Someone just use it. There is no any citation, but they use it. Depends on the paper quality, depends on the papers, and then also the journal's quality, and the criteria is different though, right? So when you get resources and from on the internet, and you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful. Choose the right information. Okay. There is. I try to find. How can make a good argument. Maybe it's helpful. When you organize kind of an idea about coordinations and like homosexuality, and then how can I kind of make a palatable and desirable kind of argument, right? And there's from the T. Edward Demmer, and he's attacking faulty reasoning, kind of try to discern what is the faulty reasoning, not proper reasoning, and then how to make a good argument. And it's just really helpful, but you don't have to follow it in the way, but think about when you talk to refute others, and then when you talk, when you discuss others. And he suggests 5 graded, and structure, and relevancy, and acceptability, and sufficiency, and rebuttal. And what is the structure? So when you say argument and just hold your conversation, think about the structure of a whole conversation. When you write a paper, kind of argument paper, so think about the whole structure of your argument. That one is that. So think about it. Does the communication include at least one reason to support the conclusion as being true? In the structure, you need at least one kind of supporting fact. Could any of the key promises be interpreted as making the same claim as the conclusion? There is a cogence, and just think about consistency. And just like promises and conclusion, and all the way you try to prove and with one of your reasoning, and then support, and then try to see maybe one of the research, one of your fact, and any kind, and then any one of the promises contradicted any other promise, and those the conclusion contradicted any other promises. That's not a good argument structure, right? There is a consistency, cogency. What about relevancy? The promise was true. If the promise was true, does it make you more likely to believe that the conclusion is true? If it's not relevant to their life, their thinking, then even though it's a good argument, it's not challengeable, right? Also, relevance is really important in communication. And even if the promises were true, should be a consideration of accepting the truth of the conclusion. That's the relevancy. Checking for acceptability, then, is the promise provided one that a mature, reasonable, rational adult would like to accept? If you use some examples, if you use kind of any data, resource from others, and then just think about, and based on that one, you try to make the argument, and then they're gonna believe it. Oh yeah, it's believable, it's acceptable, and then they can buy your idea. Otherwise, they're not gonna buy your idea. Illogic and just kind of no support, and they're not gonna buy it. Right? And what evidence is provided as a part of the claim? And does it conform to the standard of acceptability or the condition of your unacceptability? And think about it. Is a promise based on the unstated assumption that a mature, rational adult not be willing to accept? What about the sufficiency? Are the response provided enough to drive to the author's conclusion? Is it sufficient? Or more need support? And that is you gotta check that one. And then any promise based on the insufficient evidence of faulty casual analysis. And think about it, and is it enough, or it's your logic is not based, it's not enough. Sometimes when you write a paper and when you read again and over, you keep revising because you like it. It's not logically sometimes it's not enough. You gotta add something because I think I need more support. Sometimes you need to take out because I think it's not logically aligned with the logic and reasoning. Just take a lot of time. So, while I was reading my final paper for dissertation, and then everything is done, my defense was done, and then correction was done, and then the final stage is kind of editing my paper because my English is not my first language, but I consulting with a professional editor, and she checked a lot of grammars, not them, but kind of this way of the expression is a kind of I made it kind of I could make readers confused, right? And they change the range, and then some of them, oh, I don't like this one, but it's too late. Oh, I need more support. I think it's, every paper, whenever I read it over and over, I need one more sentence here, like this. And rebuttal means it's kind of the same as refutation, and try to show that, prove that, how they are kind of not right in logic and in their thinking, right? And rebuttal is that the argument provides advance the strongest counter argument effectively. Okay? And when they said, we believe God and we believe the Trinity, but they said, that's wrong the doctrine. So how can you do that? Rebuttal. How can you present your idea about Trinity if you are kind of making argument with the Muslim, a Muslim, and does the arguer anticipate and address a serious weakness in the argument? And this argument shows why alternative positions are flawed. That is, if you kind of work in the way, it's really helpful. That's why I introduce, and sometimes it's too much, but still, always you try to make argument or make apologetics on certain topic and think about the criteria. So you could Google it and Edward Dammer, and then Bible principle good argument, and you can get it online. And maybe you can buy the book that Attacking Faulty Reasoning. And here's one thing that we need to do. I want you guys, and it's about 10-week class from next week. After this class, and then think about a topic that really you guys struggling with, and someone asked, and then how can I answer, right? And so just to pick the one topic in your mind, and whenever we go with the lectures, and think about always trying to write down how can we say that, what we can say that, and then the end of the class, and then you can make your own kind of things about the topic. So choose one topic like homosexuality and families and any kind of topic you are interested in, kind of questioning the kind of answering Christianity, and just think about your past experience and whether you had chance, but you didn't say clearly, and then with any supporting evidence and other resources, and then this is kind of an opportunity to think about how can I talk with others about my faith, and then make a kind of chance to present the gospel with them, right? And make it so if you have any interesting and probably it's really really good chance to learn about it. So if you have any questions, just let me know, and then this is